No, this is a presentation on geothermal and economic impact. There are four basic portions we're going to cover in this presentation. The first is a democratically run company can survive where capitalism thrives. Now you may be wondering, what is a democratically run company? It's a company whose leadership is elected by the members on a one vote per one member basis.
I'm confused. I thought this presentation was going to be about, just information about geothermal energy and its uses and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But is this some kind of promotion for a company or something?
It is along those lines. We're trying to promote the idea that geothermal power will be beneficial for society and how it can be developed.
I see. Okay.
We are talking about a democratically run company in this instance. So for a company to survive, whether it's a democratic company or a capitalist company, it needs sales. And I believe there are three primary factors that drive strong sales growth. It has a quality product that's in demand, a price that's considered reasonable by the consumer and consumer can afford, and three is a loyal customer base. And I believe Henry Ford addressed these three issues quite effectively when he started manufacturing cars, in that using an assembly line to manufacture his vehicles, and that created a better consistency in the product and also developed a reputation for being more reliable, quality factors. Also, he sold his vehicles for a price that a far greater portion of society could afford to buy, which previously was only the very wealthiest people could afford cars. And third, he created a loyal customer base largely by paying his workers double the common wage at the time, which made it possible for many of them to be able to afford his product as well. And I imagine they spoke quite well of that to their friends and relatives, further creating the customer base. Now, geothermal power represents a quality product in that it has a reduced environmental impact over the other alternatives out there. And it's reliable. Many of the other alternatives require fuel or are dependent upon the weather, wind, rain, or sun.
Do you want to have a discussion ongoing, or will there be a discussion period later?
After each of the four sections, I'll stop briefly to
Okay.
open up the floor to any questions you may have. Yeah, I'm going to try and make the presentation fairly short so you'll have plenty of time to ask questions. So as I was saying, geothermal power represents a quality product in that it's reliable, getting its energy from the ground to generate electricity. It doesn't require fuel. So in effect, the cost can be passed on, not requiring fuel. So that geothermal power could potentially be produced for less than the alternatives, whether it's coal, oil, or whatever, because those alternatives require some sort of fuel. And something always costs more than nothing. And that's the advantage of geothermal power, is if it's designed properly, it doesn't require any fuel to keep producing power for a very long time. It can sustain 24/7 constant power production. Now, to build a loyal customer base, you can sell that electricity at a very reasonable rate, say 5 cents a kilowatt, and still make a significant profit from doing that. And if your company is a democratic company whose mission is to create quality jobs, you can pass along a lot of that economic value to the workers. All right. We're going in the wrong direction here. All right. Now, if you develop a geothermal power plant at, say, an industrial park, you have the potential for also funding the workers with benefits and fair wages, and investing a significant amount of the economic value realized from low-cost energy in developing new industries, manufacturing industries potentially, that use electricity to produce their products, further passing along that economic value. And if that company's industry is dedicated quality jobs, they too will benefit from the economic value of low-cost energy and be highly competitive, able to produce long-term sales. And that's where job security is. In other words, if the primary company is producing a significant amount of quality jobs and you have secondary industries creating quality jobs, the economic growth is for every manufacturing power plant job created, 3 to 5 additional jobs can be created as well, which adds to the overall loyalty base of customers that can buy your product. Now, a democratically run company, which is what we're talking about, isn't susceptible to hostile takeovers, which you might see with a corporate company that's highly profitable. Oftentimes, those kind of companies are ideal things where the secondary industries are stripped off, liquidated, and the prime jewel is just saved for the venture capital to reap the full value of the economic benefits realized from low-cost energy. In other words, low-cost energy is really the backbone of all industry, manufacturing industry. That's what makes it valuable to produce things. In other words, if it takes just labor, things are going to cost a lot more to produce your products. That's what I'm kind of getting at here. That creates job security with industries that are going to be able to maintain quality jobs for a long period of time, potentially generations, like the auto industry did for a very long time. And there would be no incentive to move those jobs elsewhere because there's a benefit of staying close in the industrial park to realize those benefits. Now, there are advantages and disadvantages to minimum wage. The advantages are corporations are able to realize better profits they can pass on to their investors. And the disadvantages are that minimum wage really doesn't create a lot of economic activity. And oftentimes, people are working 30 or 40 hours a week require subsidies from the government just to put food on the tables. That greatly limits the economic value that those people can offer society, and oftentimes creates a certain amount of unrest from people not being able to get quality jobs. Now, the economic impact that geothermal power could have on this is, if a democratic company is creating vast numbers of quality jobs, the companies that are dependent on minimum wage workers will find it more and more difficult to fill those positions if there isn't a really high unemployment level where people can't find quality jobs. So they would be compelled to raise their wages as well if they want to fill their positions, which would further create more economic activity, more people having more money to spend. All that is a great impact socially and economically for society. Much more benefit than might otherwise be seen.